Hello. Okay, so good morning all. Yesterday we have started and completed one problem, I think so, in the Gauss-Seidel method of load flow solution. And already I have given you the answers, but I don't know how many of you have completed and verified that answers. But anyway, I will leave you that problem up to you. You please try to solve the problems. See, each and every point I am going to specify in this particular class, because in order to understand the problem and in order to understand the concept clearly, okay, for your sake, not for my sake. Generally students may feel that load flow solutions or power flow solutions is a very difficult chapter to prepare, but as far as my knowledge is concerned, only you are having four topics. Those are Gauss-Seidel, Newton-Raphson method, decoupled and fast decoupled load flow solutions. See, out of all these four methods, definitely you may get 90% chance is there for getting a problem based on Newton-Raphson method and Gauss-Seidel method. And as far as my knowledge is concerned, I taught this subject for 5 times. Okay, so as far as my knowledge is concerned, definitely you if you are getting a problem means 95% you will get the problem based on Gauss-Seidel method, or 5% chance is there for getting Newton-Raphson method. But sometimes, based on depends on your fate, you may also get the problems related to uh, the last two methods, decoupled and fast decoupled load flow solutions. But anyway, this chapter is also very easy to understand and easy to analyze also. Okay, don't leave this chapter, don't leave this particular chapter. Okay, out of 6 chapters, third chapter is very easy, and within 2 to 3 classes we shall able to complete that one also. But in university question papers, almost all the sets consist of the combinations of the chapter number 2 and chapter number 3. Okay, so this is about the importance of load flow solution. So that's why I'm taking too much time for explaining a single problem. Okay, so yesterday already we have started the some problem. Now we are going to extend the same problem by considering different cases. Okay, so let me explain how we are going to solve if PQ buses are suddenly changed to PV buses. That means in the last problem we have solved and we have considered in the last class that problem consists of four bus system, and out of those four buses, the first bus is a slack bus or reference bus. Obviously, we know that, and the remaining three buses are PQ buses. So definitely, he has mentioned that point in the problem itself. Okay, so type of the bus instead suppose if you have not been given the type of the bus, obviously you cannot decide whether which method or which approach is preferable to solve that load flow solutions, right? So definitely the type of bus is also mentioned in the problem itself. 95%, 99% every each and every point regarding the data which is related to that particular system has been mentioned in the table itself. Okay, so that is a given data. First thing is given data. Okay, now let us see, let us continue the same problem again. Write up is everything is same, but the only difference is, instead of second bus is, in the previous case we have considered that as a PQ bus. Now we are going to convert that PQ bus as a PV bus. So that is the problem now we are going to see here, right? Just go through this. That's why I'm going to share my screen here. Today also we are going to have the PowerPoint presentation. I think my screen is visible. See, already I told you several times that if you are unable to see my screen, or if you are unable to listen my voice, you just raise a hand, or you just put the a small message in the chat box. Okay. Now, so basically we have already seen all these things, right? Now the same problem, there is no change at all. The same problem. Now the only difference is, now you see here, the first bus is a slack bus, second bus is a PQ bus, third bus is also a PQ bus, and fourth bus is also a PQ bus. Okay, now everything is same, Again, we are considering same 4-bus system, okay, and the same real powers and reactive powers, etc., etc. But the thing is, whenever the second bus is converted to PQ bus, or sorry, from PQ bus to PV bus, the specified parameters are going to be changed. Suppose if we are considering second bus is a PV bus, obviously the specified parameters are real power and voltage. Real power and voltage. Now, what are the unspecified parameters at the PV bus? Obviously, Q and delta. Those two parameters you should determine using Gauss-Seidel method of load flow solutions, right? Now you see here. So in the above problem, just this is the matter that we are going to change. Again, we are considering the same problem, same system, same real powers and reactive powers, but the only change is in the above problem. Assume bus number 2 be a PV bus with the magnitude of voltage is equal to 1.04 per unit. But in the previous case, we have taken the initial value of the second bus voltage is equal to 1 per unit. But in this particular problem, you are asked to consider V2 is equal to 1.04 per unit. Again, flat voltage start. Find, sorry, have wrongly written that as a find Q2, delta 2, V3, V4 at the end of first Gauss iteration, and at the same time the reactive power limits are already mentioned in the problem itself. Those values are 0.2 less than or is equal to Q2 less than or is equal to 1 per unit. So this is the given problem. So do you understand what are the changes to be made for the earlier problem for solving this one? The only thing is, in the last problem, see here, in the last case, for bus number 2, the real power is mentioned, reactive power is also mentioned, the voltage is not given, and the type of the bus is PQ bus. Okay. Now, for this, you need to determine this one. You need to find this one. This here he has given that you need to consider this as 1.04. Now this is not PQ bus, this is PV bus. Okay. Now what you are asked to determine? Q2, delta 2, V3, V4. So what about Q2 and what about delta 2? Those are the points you need to discuss while doing the solution for this problem, right? Now we will do the solution for this one. Now see here. So first of all, we need to assume that V20 is equal to 1.04. Why? Because again we are going to have the flat voltage start. So initial values of voltages should be equal to slack bus voltage, whether it is 1. Okay. So here in the problem itself, he has mentioned that V20 initial value of the voltage is voltage at the second bus is equal to 0. That means 1.04. 1.04. Okay. Now latter again Q has been changed. So obviously later we will determine what about the second bus voltage at the end of first Gauss iteration. Okay, that is another case. So delta 2 0, delta 2 initial value is also equal to 0. Sorry, 1. So these are assumptions. Assume V2G. Just wait a moment. Just wait a moment. Just wait a second. Wait a second. Again, I'm going to share my screen here. So because of some disturbance. Okay. Okay, all. See, that's why please don't attend the session when the session starts. Okay, already it is 10:15. Every time you are going to repeat the same. So this is the technical problem that we are facing. So when you disturb means obviously everything has been disturbed, right? So here V20 is equal to 1.04. That's what he has given. And the delta 2 is also equal to 0. Okay. Now please note down this point. This is a very, very important expression. You need to determine the reactive power at ith bus at the first Gauss iteration or the first iteration. See, first iteration is given by qi to the power of r plus 1 minus imaginary part of this one. Please write, make a note. Make a note. Okay. See, sorry for the inconvenience caused. So because of some urgency, I'm going to attend a mail phone call. Right now, please do remember that, and this is the reactive power expression. So this is the reactive power expression that you are going to use. Now let us derive the reactive power at the second bus. That is also very important. Reactive power at the second bus. So Q21 now you see here already real power is mentioned in the problem itself, but V2 so for now you are going to have that second bus as a PV bus instead of PQ bus, right? So whenever that PQ bus has been shifted to a PV bus, obviously the specified parameters is also going to be changed. So real power is already mentioned in the problem itself. Reactive power, that must be unknown. You need to determine that reactive power along with the load angle or bus phase angle at the second bus. Okay. Now Q2 dash is equal to minus imaginary part of, so where I is equal to 2, R is equal to 0, multiplied by okay. Now you need not use the summation. Why? Because already I is equal to 2, 2 minus 1 means obviously you will have 1. So y21 multiplied by v1 plus v20 multiplied by y22 y22 v20 plus y23 y23 v30. Please do the problem along with me. y24 y24 v40. Just simply I have substituted r is equal to 1 in the given expression. You first note down this expression. This is a very important note point you need to remember. So without having this reactive power expression, we cannot do this problem, right? Okay. Now let us see how many values are known to you and how many values are unknown to you. You know this, v20 is equal to 1.04, y21 already you will have the information regarding the y bus of the given 4 bus system. In the previous class we have already seen that and we have deduced that also. V1 is equal to already 1.04, that has been already mentioned in the previous problem itself. See, this is just extension of the previous problem. This is not the new problem, this is just extension. And for that extension you are asked to consider PV bus instead of PQ bus. That is the only difference between this one and the previous one. So V20 is equal to 1.04 and V30 already, V3 flat voltage start already we have considered that flat voltage start. So V30 is equal to V40 is also equal to 1. V30 is equal to V40 is also equal to 1. Okay. So if you substitute all the values, definitely you will get the answer 0.2079. See, this is the problem already I have done. Okay, I did the same problem by using calculators, etc., etc. So this is the finalized answer. So 0.2079. You please make a note. So Q2 dash is equal to, that means at the end of first Gauss iteration, Q2 dash, the reactive power is equal to 0.2079. 0.2079. Okay, is it not? Now let us derive the expression for the phase angle. So how do we derive the expression for phase angle? That is also important. Okay, you please make a note 0.2079. Now the second one is, see, I don't know why you are leaving this class and why you are again entering into the class. Please don't disturb. Please don't disturb. Right? See, delta 2 dash. So these are the two unknown parameters or unspecified parameters that you are going to determine with the use of known parameters, that too at the end of first Gauss iteration. first Gauss iteration. So delta 2 dash is equal to angle, phase angle of, how can we determine? Already we know the expression for the ith bus voltage. So again we are going to consider the same ith bus voltage, but we are not considering the magnitude, just we are considering the phase angle. So phase angle of 1 by y22. So this indicates that phase angle. So 1 by y22 multiplied by P2 minus j Q2. This is not Q2. So Q2 is already obtained. So P2 minus j Q2 dash divided by V20 conjugate. V20 conjugate minus Y21 V1 Y23 V30 Y24 V40. Right? Now this is the formula. So Y22 already you are having that information. V20 is already known to you, that is 1.04. So P2 is already known, that is 0.5 minus J into Q2 dash. Just now we have determined that Q2 dash is equal to 0.2079. Y21 is already known. V1 is already known. So that is 1.04. V30 already we have assumed that as a 1 per unit. Okay. Due to flat voltage start, V40 is already equal to 0. So Y23, Y24, already you know, you can obtain those values from the Y bus formation, right? So this is why, this is how you are going to determine the value of delta 2 dash. So final, please make a note. Final answer should be 0.032 radians. Radians, not in terms of degrees. Please make a note. Please make a note. Okay. So delta 2 dash is obtained. Q2 dash is also obtained. Okay. I am not going to substitute the values. Just I will give you everything instead of substituting the values. Please try to understand the time constraint also. You just substitute the values of the previous problem in this one, and let us verify whether these answers are correct or not. Okay. So once if we obtain Q2 dash and delta 2 dash, now it's our turn to determine the second bus voltage. Second bus, that means at the end of first Gauss iteration, what is the second bus voltage? So V21 dash. So this is V2 dash is nothing but initial value of the second bus voltage. So that's why you need to consider that same. Okay. Now let us continue the next topic. That means the next one. So already we obtained Q2 dash and delta 2 dash. Now the next one is V2 dash. So we are going to determine the second bus voltage at the end of first Gauss iteration, which is equals to 1.04 at an angle of delta 2 dash. That means 1.04 cos delta, sorry, delta 2 dash plus j sin delta 2 dash. Okay. Now already you know, just now we have determined what is a delta 2 dash. So just you substitute that delta 2 dash in this. So V21, the second bus voltage at the end of first Gauss iteration can be obtained as this one. So final, I will give you the answer also. I will give you the answer also. Please make a note. 1.03946. J.3351. Okay. So the remaining things are very easy. Why? Because V3 dash. Yesterday already we have solved the V3 dash and V4 dash. So you people are familiar how to solve the bus, the remaining bus voltages at the end of first Gauss iteration. Here, the clear difference between this problem and the previous problem is, in the previous problem, the second bus is PQ bus. So obviously, the real power and reactive power has been mentioned in the problem itself. But in this case, the PQ bus has been transformed to PV bus. So whenever it is transformed to PV bus, obviously the specified parameters are also going to be changed. So in this case, Q21 at the same time delta 1 are the unspecified parameters at the end of, at the second bus have to be determined by using the Gauss-Seidel method at the end of first Gauss iteration. So later we can obtain V21, that means the second bus voltage at the end of first Gauss iteration with the updated values of the phase angles. Obviously we are getting this one. Now with the same values, so with the same V21 and V1, obviously we can able to determine V3 dash and V4 dash also. So I will give you the answers for these two problems, these two voltages also. Please make a note. So later you will solve these problems. Okay. So with this, the case one has been completed. So this can be valid. This can be valid only if the PQ bus has been converted to PV bus. See, only there are two buses. Either all the buses are PQ buses or it is a combination of PV bus and PQ bus. That is the only thing you need to remember. Now, the next case is also very important. So that is the limits have been changed. Now we are going to see that also. Now in the problem, Q2 limits have been mentioned as 0.2 and 1 per unit. 0.2 and 1 per unit. Now, second, case 2. For the same problem, case 2, if the limits are in between 0.25 Q2 1 per unit. Okay. Now, how to proceed? Suppose if you are getting the violated limits. Why? Because why I am using that violation? Why? Because Q2 already we have obtained as 0.2039, right? But in this case, the lower limit is 0.25. Suppose if this is the case, how can we proceed? How can we proceed? So calculated value is less than the Q2 minimum. In this particular case, you need to set the Q2 value must be minimum. Please try to understand. If the calculated value is less than this Q2 minimum value, obviously you can set Q2 is equal to 0.25. 0.25. So whenever this happens, obviously your PV bus has been converted to PQ bus. So you people are very much familiar. You people are very much familiar to have the calculations of PQ bus. PQ bus. Just now we have completed the PV bus. Now we are going to have the calculations. The calculations has been completely changed. Why? Because if the limits are in between 0.25 and 1 per unit, again we are following the same procedure. Just now we have seen. But in this particular case, already the calculated value is less than the minimum value of Q2. So that's why again the PV bus has been converted to PQ bus. The PV bus has been converted to PQ bus. Okay, so this is the case. Okay, do you have any problem? Do you have any questions to ask? If you have any questions, you please raise your doubts. If you have any questions, please raise your doubts. Don't you have any doubts? See why? Because now I'm going to stop the problems uh, of Gauss Seidel method. So if possible, we shall also try to solve one more problem related to this one. So as far as my knowledge is concerned, till now we have discussed about only one problem. In the last class and also the continuation of this class also, we are discussing about one problem, but different cases. Different cases. Okay. So from tomorrow, if possible, I shall try to complete one more problem in this Gauss Seidel, and from Friday onwards, we shall start Newton-Raphson method. Okay, and please don't take this subject as light. Please try to understand how much time I am spending for explain each and every problem for you people. But as far as offline sessions are concerned, this is not the case. So in each and every class, we are going to complete at least 2 problems. But that is not in the case of online teaching. Please try to understand our situation also. Okay, please try to cooperate. Please don't absent. Once again, I'm requesting each and every one of you, please don't absent for the classes. Why? Because each and every class has been interlinked. All the classes are interlinked. Okay, so once if you are absent for the last class, obviously you cannot able to analyze the problem that we are going to continue in this present class, right? So that's the end of the session. Thank you.